Well, hello, good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. Um, Today we have a wonderful shaman joining us, Leslie Marsh. I'm very intrigued to speak to her today, um, mainly because shamanism is something that I've looked into but never. Wonderfully quick.
Well, it's
So,
all new to me and I'm just following instructions. So
how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm just wondering about the lighting, etc., and where I am.
Oh no, your lighting is great. If I can ask you just to turn your phone the other way around, it has to be in portrait mode,
Oh,
unfortunately.
more this way?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, there we go.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Um, and I was just actually saying that I'm very interested to do this talk with you today because I've been asked to research shamanism for some time now for a couple of my clients and never really gotten into it for various reasons. Mainly my own path is slightly different. I follow Hermetic Kabbalah more as my path of learning, but I am very interested in shamanism as a way to connect with, I guess, nature and nature spirits and the healing that the earth is able to do for us. So, as I say, very excited to have this chat with you today. But before we get into it, Leslie, if I could ask you a little about yourself, what brought you onto this particular journey?
That's a hell of a question to ask someone who's on this journey because it's a long story. But in saying that, the Clip Notes version is that I've always been a peculiarly curious child.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had a bond with animals and nature. I've always been attracted that way. And basically, Libari, who is into a very famous writer on anthropology, she said that there are 5 ways to become a shaman: near-death experience, losing your mind, being actually inducted by the incumbent shaman, being an hereditary shaman, and then there is the one where spirit just picks you.
Right.
Now, interestingly enough, I'm 3 cars, a bus, an elephant, a little nervous breakdown when I've been, and I think I'm covering the bases.
I think so,
So
yes.
it was, yeah. So it was actually all through my life. If I look back, and we can all do this to find out how we got to actually where we are right
Mm-hmm.
now, at whatever path we're on. You look back and you can see the little catalytic conversions that happened when you were told something, when you experienced something, and you veered off on another direction that eventually took you to where you are now. And that happened to me serendipitously through people saying one thing, and my ears would pick up, and I would just say, "Oh, that looks interesting. That sounds interesting. I might have a go at that. I might find out more about it." But one particular one out of all of them that strikes me the best, that explains everything, is that I was working as a veterinary nurse, which I did for 35 years, hiding away from people, bonding with my animals. And one of the receptionists, who was quite new, came in and we were having a chat on one of the very few quiet days that you can have. And she was talking about runes. Bam! Antenna just went right up, and I was like, "Oh, do you know, I've always wanted to understand more about runes." "Fantastic," she says, "I'll bring them in." So she did bring them in, and they lay there for a long time because it was a long time before we got another quiet moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then that day, she came went into the consulting room, she popped the bag on the table and she said, put your hand in there, take out 3 runes. So I did. And I took them out and I'm looking at these 3 runes. I went, okay, what are they? And she looked at me and she said, that one there is very interesting. That is tear. And it's like a little arrow.
Yes.
She said, that tells me, yeah, that tells me you are a warrior in your heart. And I said, okay, I fight with my emotions. I've got heart. I'm passionate about things. I'll have that every day and twice on Sundays. Not a problem. That was 1994. And basically, about 3 or 4 years after that, I ended up doing something I thought I would never do, which was leave my job. And I found myself walking up Glastonbury High Street. I think we were into, it was longer than that, we were into the millennium by that time, 2001, 2002. And I was walking up Glastonbury High Street and there's an A-frame, Warrior in the Heart, Shamanic Training. Now, do you need a piano to fall on your head? I would.
My God.
That was my big sign. And that was when I started my official apprenticeship, really. Learning what I'd been doing already, just didn't know what it was. And I think that happens a lot with people. They're going along and they have this thing that they know inside, you know, in your heart, you know, that there's something going on, that there's more to it. And if you're really, really lucky, you get to find out what it is. But it's like shamanism is like, when I was a little girl, our mothers used to buy us clothes that were 2 sizes too big. And she would roll up the sleeves and turn up the cuffs, the trousers, so that we would wear them, so that we would grow into those clothes. Now, when I have somebody who comes in for a session with me and they want to become someone who's a practitioner on the shamanic path, we'll go through that. Occasionally, more than occasionally, we find out that perhaps the coat's still a little bit too big, not quite ready yet. And they're still too loose in what they're doing. And some of them will come back, but some of them will actually go on and do other things because that wasn't quite the right fit. And it's got to be the right fit in order for you to put your heart and soul into it. Shamanism's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to be in, because they make you sit with your stuff, huh? They make you sit there with that stuff and have a discussion and then deal with it. Shaman, you're not going to see someone who's going to go there, have a cup of tea. It's all going to be fine. I'm going to do it all for you. No. You're going to be doing it for yourself. You're going to be given help and resources in order to help you to do that. But actually, this path is yours to walk. No one else can walk your path for you. So that in a nutshell is kind of how I got where I am and what I'm about.
Amazing. And I was getting chills all the way through your story, because it's so much of it resonates with me as well. Like when you were saying, do you need a piano dropped on you? Because sometimes the universe does have a sense of humor. And you kind of like, gosh, do I seriously have to drop a piano on your head for you to get the message that I'm trying to send?
Yes, definitely. I mean, they sent me a dog. The universe sent me a dog. As a vet nurse, we call them occupational hazards. He was a puppy and he was found in a black plastic bag with 3 other puppies at a vet's in Hendon and just dumped on the doorstep. And he was brought in and they kind of looked at me and I said, no, I can't. I'm here like 17 hours a day. How can you expect me to do this? But I had him for 9 years, the 2 of us. He helped me walk my path into humanity again, because I had to speak to people who were walking their dogs. And so I got into the way of being in with people, allowing myself to talk with people on a more basis, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So one day my friend says to me, oh, she does tarot cards. Doing. Yeah, I kind of like tarot cards. I wonder what this is all about. Why am I hearing this now? Which is a question that I often ask myself when these things happen now. So we went to see this lady, and she just took the rug out from under my feet like you do not believe. And she told me, you're going to leave your job. And I was like, no. You've got it totally wrong there. I will be found rigor mortis with a squeegee in one hand and a thermometer up a dog's backside in the other. Because that's the only thing I do. Still totally, you know, the piano is quavering. It's withering on its rope at this point. You know, it's going doing, doing. The thread starts to break. And she's like, no, you will. And I did, which was how I found myself walking up Glastonbury High Street. But then I panicked too. During one of my journeys, I was being journeyed for in Circle, and one of the girls who was journeying for me came up and said, you have to go and speak to him. Why? Because you have to go and do NLP. What's that? I don't know. I've just been told you have to go talk to him and do NLP. Oh, okay. So I did that, and then the other thing that they said was, you have to really stop doing what you... I had panicked when they said leave my job, and I'd become a locum just to keep the mortgage paid, the car paid, you know, be able to put food on the table, feed the dog kind of thing. And I was like, how can I by itself and not have the stuff that pays the bills? How is this going to work? And you know, in the West, we do that all the time.
Yes.
We question.
We want to know the how.
We don't. Yeah, we want to know the how. We want to know the why, the when, the where. We want to do an autopsy before it's even dead. We want to pick it apart and look at all the little nitty-gritty bits just to be sure. It doesn't work that way. So what Spirit did, now this is, you're going to love this, sent me a 6-stone Rottweiler at 3 o'clock in the morning. That Rottweiler, bless his little cotton socks, was not very well. So he was a grumpy, and he was a guard dog. And he was a guard dog in a place where they had never put a collar on him. They'd never actually touched him. Oh. Because he was a guard dog. So he wasn't, they kind of herded him into the room. There were 5 chaps with him, 5 guys with him. And they all fell out, it was like the Keystone Cops, they fell out, the doors flew open, guys fell out, and then this dog kind of got out like King Tut on parade, and they're all shushing him around, trying to get him to move. Oh my. 3 o'clock in the morning, we had to do something with this poor wee soul, but we had to anaesthetize him to get him there first. Unfortunately, we had to use something called a dog catcher. Never liked it, hated using it. But strangely enough, there's 2 men there with me. 2 men. I'm the one on the end of the dog catcher with this dog. And he looked at me and I looked at him and I thought, oh dear. And then he threw himself one way and my arm twisted the other way and my rotator cuff tore. Oh. So now I can't hold on to animals the way that I would if I was working. So I couldn't do my job anymore. It's a case of, you don't make you.
Yeah.
And you're not going to like it. This is what I mean by shamanism not being an easy path. It will take you places that you don't want to go. And you don't question it. Because when you question it, you get a slap.
That is...
a virtual slap, definitely.
Oh, yeah. It's something that comes up so often for me, Leslie. I was actually chatting to one of my friends who's, I suppose, kind of on the shaman path. He's in the States, though. And he called me up one afternoon and he goes, have you ever had something that you know you have to do because it makes logical sense and it's also just good for you, and you start to see signs from the universe that you have to do this. Has that ever happened? And I go, yeah, a couple times. He goes, right. Have you ever said no? I said, yeah, I said no once. And he goes, and then I go, and I never did that again.
Yeah, the thing is though, it's scary. It's very scary to take a leap of faith and trust that it's all going to work out. However, we see historically that when we try to stop things from happening, look at the Oracle of Delphi in the older Greek myths. Every time they tried to circumvent that, and the interesting thing about the Oracle is no grammar, no punctuation. So it can be read 15 ways to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It can be so many meanings from it. It depends on the person reading it. But when they try to circumvent what they believe they're being told, all shenanigans started to happen.
Yep.
There were wars, there were people dying, there were mothers being put into chests with their babies, there were people losing their sandals in rivers and being blamed for being the one who's going to be the terrorist to kill everybody. You know? So basically, it can cause a lot of chaos if you don't do what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, for sure. And yet we still like to think that we know better.
Yes, it's an amazing thing, isn't it? How you know better than the whole universe.
We like to think that just because we are born of source that we are somehow the same. It's like, no. You're close, but no.
Well, yeah, interestingly enough, though, I have this model of the world for me where I see us as a walking manifestation of universes. We are them all. Because inside us,
Absolutely.
we have galaxies
of
organs and stars, of cells, and these things are brain. And you look at the brain, and the neurons that are inside the brain look like trees lying down.
Yep.
And just like trees, they have roots on one end and branches on the other. And the messages go through. And once those messages are going through, you think to yourself, oh, but actually, they've just discovered that trees do that.
Mm-hmm.
They are in total communication all around the globe. And we just make furniture out of them. And
it's the old adage of as above, so below, as within, so without.
Yes.
It's everywhere.
And it's also the reason shamans love trees. Because we have the three worlds. We have the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world.
Right.
So the lower world, because you go down the roots of the tree to the lower world, where all your power animals are waiting for you to have fun and play and tell you stories and tell you off if you haven't been for a while. And basically, it's a wonderful place, and it's all yours. No one else can go there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the middle world, the world next door. The world where the healing is done, the world where the Fae live. So it can be tricky sometimes. You have to be careful in there. And you have to take 2 power animals with you when you go there, at least 2. And they have to be specifically for that journey. So people don't understand that you don't just get 1 power animal. You don't just get 1 spirit animal. I have a menagerie, basically. But my favourite one of my infrequent visitors, I mean, my bear is my stalwart, my wolf is my guide, but I have a mongoose who makes me dance.
Oh, how wonderful.
He came to me spontaneously on the first afternoon of training. After we'd had lunch, I came upstairs and I heard the music and my heart fell into my shoes. They're gonna make me dance. I don't dance. I don't even sing in the shower because it's awful. It's like a landslide backwards and then gets stuck. I don't do that. So they're telling us what's going to happen, and they're telling us that, don't worry, everybody's gonna have their eyes shut. That made me even worse. I'm like, eyes shut? How do you not bump into everyone? goes on? How does it work? What's going to happen? I'm going to be crushed. I'm going to fall. I'm going to make an arse of myself.
Nope.
But no. Everyone's doing it, but I have one eye open. Because I'm still questioning. I have one eye open. And then I feel something at my foot. And I'm just doing this kind of shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is throwing their arms in the air and shrieking and waking and doing their stuff. And I'm just standing there very quietly, having a bit of a shuggle, as we call it in Scotland. And I felt this energy and I looked down and things are starting to get a little bit, you know, that woozy way.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, did I breathe in too heavily when I was walking up Glastonbury High Street? Was somebody smoking something and I've inhaled it, you know, because what's happening here? This isn't how it's supposed to happen. Is it supposed to happen this way? And I'm looking to see if anybody else is paying attention. Of course, they're all doing their thing. They don't care, which is, you know, the message to anyone who's getting self-conscious about stuff. Nobody's watching you.
No.
Until you do what you're doing and then you draw attention to yourself. So just do what you want to do. So I'm looking down and he's standing there and he's like, come on, you got to dance. You got to move. Otherwise the snake's going to get you. You don't want a snake to get you. Can't have a snake getting you. Come on, dance, Leslie. Well, okay, so I did. And since then, as you can see, I don't really bother about dancing. Because it's good for you. Especially when you trance dance and you shapeshift at the same time. That's another story though.
Oh, yes. One I would love to hear, definitely. But I want to hear more, before we get into that, about one of the topics that you wanted to discuss here, storytelling for change. And then also, I'd love to hear about how shamans work in today's society, because I feel like there is definitely a movement back towards people wanting to reconnect with their souls and with the soul of the planet and the spirit animals, etc. But by the same token of
well, this is why I was told to go to NLP. NLP is 21st century shamanism in a way, because it's all about the story. It's all about the story that we're telling each other every day. We tell our story, but we're also listening to it at the same time. And we don't think about that part of it. But as we listen to the story we're telling, we're embedding the story, every word, every sentence, every thought, every feeling. And with that, we're weaving the warp and weft of our limitations, a big cloth bag of limitations. Oh, I can't do that. No, I'm not going to do that. No. They told me at school I wasn't going to ever be any good at that. No, can't do it. No, won't do it. I'm so ill. I'm so upset. I'm fed up.
Yep.
They wear it. People wear their stories when they're talking to you. Now, there's a good reason for it. It's okay to have a wallow every now and again, but don't make it your postcode or your zip code.
Absolutely.
For our friends in America.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, Eeyore is a lovely little character in Winnie the Pooh. But to tell you the truth, to have him there all the time, all day, every day, it wouldn't be a very good story.
Correct.
You know? And it does take your brain a lot of energy to stay in a state of being upset. Because it likes to change the mood about every 90 seconds or so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your brain is a learning machine. And that's the story of your brain. I can learn. I can change things. But we say, I don't want you to change. I don't want you to adapt. I don't want you to change things. I know this place. This is familiar to me. Richard Bandler doesn't call it a comfort zone. He calls it a familiarity zone. And I like that. Because there's nothing comfortable about some of the stuff that we set ourselves in. But when we're telling that story and someone comes up to us and says, do you know how you said that? What if you just put that round the other way, how would it feel if your story was different now? Because you know you write it every day. You know you can unpick that cloth of limitations and sew darts in it and make it work, make it bigger, make it different colours, throw something in it. You can do anything with your story that you want to when you really truly believe you deserve to. And that's what storytelling does when it changes things. Even fairy tales, when they're told, and we do this with groups, and we have people in a group and we bring them in. And my husband has this brilliant mellifluous voice, so he does the first part. And we get them into this state of being able to have guided meditation, guided visualization. And he takes them into the fairy forest, to the field just before the fairy forest. And as he takes them, they start to shed off their adulthood. And suddenly they're barefoot, running about like they would when they were kids. And the grasses are up at their waists and they're playing with it. And they're sitting on the down, dipping their toes in the water, just having a great time. Then he makes them notice the forest. Now, which path will we take today? Let's go this way. And he takes them through describing what they're going to be seeing, feeling and touching, to a place where there's a fire and a circle of little stumps of wood. And each one of those is a Goldilocks stump. It's just right for their bottom. And then I come in and tell the story while they're in that state. Now, a lot of them think when they're there for the first time that once we've done that and they've come back out again and we've passed the talking stick round and they're all having this, wow, I saw this and I saw that and this happened and that happened and this, you know, I really felt something in there. Then I say, okay, now it's time for the work to begin. So then we teach them how to journey to the drum because they've already got 2 power animals with their guided visualization before they went in. And they journey to the drum and they are allowed to go in and talk to the characters in the story. They're allowed to ask questions. They're allowed to be in there and experience it for themselves because you can do that. Your mind can do anything because when you're in that state, there are no physical barriers. No physical barriers at all. And then they come back out and we find out what they've learned. Now, anywhere in the world that those people ever go, they will always be part of that same circle because they all shared that unique bond, that unique story that was theirs. And that is powerful. And when they come back into the circle, if they ever do, that bond will make it so that time folds in itself and it's like they were never away. Now, we have some people who come a lot to hear these stories and to have their story done individually too. Some of them come back, some of them we never see again because they don't have to. And that's okay. Some people come back because they like the connection and it's a little bit addictive. I've got to admit, journeying is a little bit addictive. 5 minutes journeying to the drum, you feel like you've been away on a holiday for 2 weeks. It's fantastic. And you can get so much done there. And you can get so much information. However, they don't always tell you what you want to hear.
No.
Which is basically for me, is the convincer for people who say, oh, it's just your imagination. You're just making that up. Well, you know, yeah. Your imagination is what got you the flip phone, what got you the television, what got you the radio, what got you into space. We're there because somebody imagined it was possible. It was made in here before it was made out there. There has to be an idea. Little bang to go and make a universe of ideas.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it was Jung who said, people don't have ideas, ideas have people. I love that.
And so true. It is so true.
So that kind of explains the storytelling, how it works and how I work it, basically. It's about listening to, because we're such good story listeners, we can actually wear other people's stuff and walk away with it too. And that's what we have to be careful of as therapists, as change makers, is that we don't end up wearing somebody else's story.
Yes.
But we are actually born and brought up learning someone else's story. We learn limitations. We learn that, oh, you can't do that. You're in this, you're a working person. You don't go there. You don't talk to these people. That's not your place. You're stupid, you can't count. You can't do this, you can't spell, you're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
That happened to me. I was about 7, I think, and I was listening to a conversation between a headmaster and my mother saying, oh, don't worry, she'll be fine when she gets to leave school, because by the time she leaves school, the supermarket cash tills will be calculating the money and change for her. She won't have to do anything. Now, interestingly enough, they then discovered dyscalculia and dyslexia. So that didn't happen until I was well away from school. But I discovered myself that the actual shame and embarrassment that you carry with that presentation of a diagnosis for you.
It's huge.
And I say diagnosis because that's it, it's done as far as they're concerned. That's you, you're written off. You carry that with you, and it's the shame and embarrassment of it, of being slow at counting. How can you not get that? How the hell did you get that? Where did you get that number from? And so you stop actually, you disappear, you quietly back up when it comes to numbers. But you see, I had a passion for animals, didn't I? Remember?
Yes.
I loved animals. I got to be a vet nurse, and you need to count to be a vet nurse. So I found a way to do it. I just went in early and did all my calculations and then checked them out. And then I got to a point where I knew that there was somebody who could count, and I would say to them, okay, you're coming into theatre next week, what is this? And they tell me, and I look at my piece of paper, and if it's the same, bingo. If it's not, one of us made a mistake.
Yeah.
But there's also so many other ways around it. And it's got to do with taking away that big call of shame and embarrassment, releasing that from your story and saying, it's not that you can't count, it's just that you do it differently from other people. You dance the dance with different steps. You dance to the beat of your own drum. And it took a little Chinese PhD student when I was in my 50s to actually teach me that I could count. I ended up going to Glasgow University to do psychology because I'd worked there as a vet nurse. And it was close to home. But what I didn't look at was the fact that they are really heavy on statistics. They have like 2 years worth of statistics. And anybody who knows anything about maths will tell you that statistics, people who are really good at maths don't like it. They don't even want to go there. It's so complicated.
Yep.
And I was just looking at myself going, what did I do? Why have I done this? How do I fix this? So I went to a tutor, my Chinese student, and I mentioned that he's Chinese because I thought we were having a communication problem when he said to me, I said to him, I can't do this. And I showed him an equation. I said, I can't do this. He said, yes, you can. No, I can't do that. I can't do this. Yes, you can. Okay, one of us is not quite getting this. And I have a horrible feeling it might be me. So he said, okay, look at it. And I didn't feel at all. I didn't feel that he was looking down on me. I didn't feel ashamed to say I can't do this. I felt frustrated because I realized that I was actually telling a story of I can't. I'd jumped right back into my limitations locker. And what I needed to do was undo the defiant padlock and let myself out. So he said, "What does that mean?" And I said, "Oh, hang on a minute. I know this. I know that one, because my husband has tried so hard to get me to do spreadsheets. So I know that that big thing that looks like an E is epsilon, and that means the sum of." "Right," he says. "And what's the equation with me, piece by piece?" Now, by the end of 3 weeks, and we had like 10 minutes every session, percentiles, by myself, on my own. And that was when I realised that the universe had sent me there for that very purpose. I didn't need to do anything else. I wasn't stupid. I could do it. And do you know what happened? I actually told a story in my head, because I said to him, during my frustration, I said to him, and I realised, oh my, language. I love language. And if I love it, I can do it.
Yes.
And that's the secret of telling a story differently.
Absolutely.
Finding the passion.
That I couldn't agree with you more. The moment you find the passion in something, then you're able to make it work because there isn't that emotional block. So you're right. It's just changing the story that we tell ourselves. Absolutely. Now, Leslie, I do see that we are already over time, but I'm having such a great time chatting to you.
My back just told me I'm going.
So before I let you sign off, you obviously are a speaker as well on the Wellness Lifestyle Conference, which we are very grateful for. So as always, anybody who is watching this interview, you can click through in the link in my bio through to the Wellness Lifestyle Conference, and you'll be able to see Leslie Marsh's talk. If memory serves, your talk is Make Your Mark, is that right?
Yes, it's talking about the marks that we have made on us as children, and the marks that we can pass on. And one particular mark that took me on a career with animals from someone very surprising, who I describe as Genghis Khan in a tweed. Twin set and pearls. She wasn't a very happy person. She was not a very happy person, I can tell you. That woman
sounds amazing.
She changed my life. She made a mark on me, and it wasn't the one that everyone expected.
Incredible. Incredible. For everybody watching this, please do go through and have a look at Leslie's talk. I think with an introduction like that, why wouldn't you want to? That sounds absolutely amazing. Just for...
Please, if you come and talk to me and tell me your story.
So on that note, how did...
You're breaking up a little bit there, Steph, sorry.
I was saying, how should people get in touch with you aside from through your Instagram?
SpiralHeart4 is my Instagram. That's my Twitter as well. And info@spiralheart.co.uk is my email. And the Facebook page is Journeys with Bear and Wolf. It's actually Shamanism Scotland. Facebook.com/Shamanism Scotland. And you'll get my Facebook page.
Fantastic. Well, I'll be sure to put all of that in the comment section on this video as well. And we will be sharing this onto our Facebook page, on our LinkedIn, and onto our YouTube channel as well. So for those catching the replays there, you'll find all that information in the comment section so that you can get in touch with Leslie and learn all about how storytelling.
I do believe also, Steph, sorry to interrupt, I do believe also that I've actually made a couple of offers of very highly discounted sessions to find your power animal.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Excellent. So for those who join up on the Wellness Lifestyle Conference, you'll be able to take advantage of those wonderful discounts that Leslie is offering to you. Leslie, it has been an honor and a privilege. I feel like I need to get on a plane, fly over there so we can have a wonderful cup of tea and just sit and chat about spirit animals and shamanism and healing and all the light that needs to be brought into
Anytime, Steph. Anytime.
Fantastic. Leslie, if you're ever in my neck of the woods, I'm in Cape Town, South Africa. Please do pop in and say hi.
I will do so. We were in Cape Town last year.
Ah, well, hopefully when
We just,
all the COVID nonsense starts to alleviate a little bit, we can invite you
yeah,
back.
that would be great, Steph. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.